but I recommended Gwangju.
Gwangju?
Guangzhou.
Why?
To my yes, I know there's a political square movement as an example to show that the communist society is.
오랜만에 중국 상하이에서 인사드립니다. 지금 여기 제가 있는 데가 상하이 중심부에 있는 인민광장이라고 하는 큰 공원이에요. 여기에서 한 분을 만나기로 되어 있거든요. 저도 인터넷에서 알게 돼가지고 연락드린 분이라 뭐 제가 아는 바가 일단은 없고요. 만나보면서 어떤 분인지 알아보도록 하시죠.
I'm based in Shanghai.
But not Shanghainese.
No, I'm not
Where are you
from Shanghai.
from then?
I'm from Guangdong.
Guangdong.
Yeah, so
Which
it's
city?
Shenzhen. So what's your next destination after
I haven't
Shanghai?
decided actually.
Ah.
Maybe Chengdu.
Chengdu. Cool.
Yeah.
What is your MBTI? INTJ.
INTP.
INTP.
But when I work, INTJ actually. You're very sharp.
The INTJ
Yeah.
like
Like
create a lot of drama for me.
really? Your ex-boyfriend?
That's like kind of yeah.
Because I am also an introvert, so I am also
What is your MBTI?
INFJ.
INFJ.
Yes.
INFJ.
So I have the issue of the attention. I am afraid of being like criticized or how to judged by people. I think Shanghai is the same as Berlin. The status of Berlin compared to other cities in Germany. So it's like an exception, Shanghai, at the level of freedom and also like how liberal the people here are and the independence and also the boundaries. People more respect to like boundaries and also more international and cultural stuff. So I choose Shanghai. My house is like one bedroom. Balcony has included in the bedroom.
Okay.
And then there is a separate kitchen and a separate bathroom. So the guests have to stay with me in the same bedroom. It's not my first time like hosting two people at the same time.
But three people staying on the one bed?
No, because I have a mattress for them, so they can lie on the floor. But still, like they don't have their private room. My flat is around 6,000 RMB.
Already.
Working overtime, yeah. I think I'm the lucky one. Many people working for a like big corporate, they need to work overtime.
With Huawei.
Yes,
They're crazy.
and the toxic like power structures, and also
Very bureaucratic.
yes, and also like not so much holidays, and also like everyone.
To the goal.
Yes, I'm not ambitious and aggressive in career.
You're Tangping. You're not Tangping. Yeah.
Well, I mean in job fields I 躺平 because I work for capitalism system, and no matter how hardworking I am, I'm still like a new ma to the boss, and I don't think that the working field will not operate smoothly without me. So why working so hard and being like manipulated by the boss? It's no meaning. And yes, so I would rather like spend a lot of my energy and time to read books and to travel, to like expand my horizons and to see like the world is not just like what it is in China. There are also other ways of living. I don't like have much salary like compared to the people working in corporate. Yeah, so I know like what is important to me, and that's okay. And I think they have trust issues. I also talk about that with my German guests because like take my parents as an example. They just don't trust random people. They barely meet people they haven't met during the traveling. Like I think I am also the exception. Yes, because sometimes I want to show my openness with the people I just meet. but they will just keep some distance
Distance.
with me.
In China.
Yes.
Do you feel it?
Especially in Shanghai, I think it's also
Shanghai
the
maybe.
regional differences.
Yeah.
Because I think like people in Guangdong
A
are
little
more
different.
open-minded. Yes, I think it's the metropolis
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
I mean, it needs time
It needs
and
time.
energy to,
Yeah.
and yeah, there is opportunity cost, and no,
That's true.
and maybe not so many people are willing to, are not that pure, and maybe most of them have some interest. Yeah, that's why like people are skeptical about.
That's good. And have you been to Korea?
No,
Why not?
sadly no, because I think like Japan and South Korea, they are too close to China. So I think I have any time to visit them.
Alright.
Traveling time is shorter than
1.5 hour.
yes,
It's shorter than Beijing.
but I recommended Gwangju
Gwangju?
or Guangzhou
Why?
to
You know?
to my yes I know there's a political riots. There was a political riots
know
there. Yes, and also the 双年展 biennial happening there right now. Yes, that's why I'm more interested in Gwangju
Gwangju.
than Seoul.
Guangzhou.
Uh-huh. As I said, I'm more interested in the political, complicated history. So that's why I'm interested in.
Yeah,
Oh, you know, like when I was in Germany, I saw a lot of posters and exhibitions talking about the Square movement, and I didn't know like at the same year, same things happening in Leipzig. And Leipzig even take the Square movement as an example to show that the communist society is a fake stuff. Oh, I also can show you an installation I saw in the museum in Bonn. This installation was inspired from Square, and you can see the subtitles. You can have a look. I read
Wow.
independent media
Yeah.
published by both overseas Chinese and also other countries.
Yeah.
When talking about South Korea, I think the first thing is the success of the export of soft power.
Like
The
what?
K-pop
Okay. Do you
and
know?
Korean drama. I don't listen to K-pop,
Yeah.
but I know it's really successful.
That,
Yeah, and how the aesthetics affect a lot of Chinese, like how they dress, and also how the people do their makeup.
yeah.
Yes.
You like
No, of course not.
with your European style or which one?
I am nomad style,
Oh,
maybe
French?
Shanghai style.
Shanghai style, okay.
I don't, but clearly not Korean style. But
Different.
you can see clearly like many people walking on the Shanghai streets. They do their makeup like after the Korean trend. There are many. I think the Korean dressing brand. I cannot remember the name, but you can see it in Raffles City.
yeah.
BTS.
BTS.
Yes, BTS, and also like Blackpink.
Blackpink.
Yeah, they're very successful even in the European. And the another thing is more and more movies are nominated in the Oscar.
Yeah.
Yes, and I pretty like the topics they are talking about, like past lives, and also Minali. Yes, like the Asian diaspora living in the American and the identity issue. Yeah, that is what I am into it, what I'm interested in. Yeah, that's when you talk about South Korea, what comes to my mind. Like economically, I mean from the individual's perspective, they think China is a huge country with a huge economic investment and increase. And also how convenient the transport system is, the high speed, and also I think every person mentioned about mobile payment. And on the other hand, in the political side, they always say like a lack of privacy, lack of rights, this kind of stuff.
Feel uncomfortable? Or?
Yes, of course.
For example, like what?
I think you can see how many cameras outside.
You sense that?
Yes.
In-
Have you seen the exit one of the People Square? But that one is extraordinary because just the exit, it has 6 to 7 huge cameras. Cameras make them safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everything has two sides. When you get into the metro station, there are security checks. But I never happened to encounter this kind of situations in Germany.
Same in Korea.
Yes. Or maybe people have this kind of thoughts. They are just not willing to speak it out because of the cameras and watching.
Yeah.
I don't have the intention like to make my memory public. That's why I still don't have the motivation to do the blog. But I've had the diary habits when I'm traveling. I will write a diary every day. My feelings when I arrive at a space and any unexpected stuff, good or bad, I will write it down. When I'm in Germany, I wrote 34 pages of diary
Any-
for serving experiences. And also my perspective towards the current society in Germany. Also like how different the cities look between German cities
And
and
China?
Chinese cities. Also how people live their life in Germany. This kind of stuff.
What do you see like a big difference between German cities and Chinese cities?
At night,
Yeah.
like except Berlin,
Yeah.
many cities are pretty dark. No fewer lights on the road.
Dresden, like after 6 o'clock, you can barely find any people walking on the
It's all
street.
closed.
Yes,
And
and
very dark.
really dark. Because in Shanghai, normally I run in the night, at night.
It's very safe.
Yes, it's very safe. And then I asked my host why. And they said it's for environmental protection. They don't want to disturb the birds at night.
Okay.
So, and also to save the energy. So the lights are off at night. And the second thing I think is, especially Berlin, you see there are graffitis everywhere. I think there are certain levels of freedom. And also the city is it's designed and built by the citizens rather than complete planning by the government. So it's pretty different from Shanghai and Berlin. You see, Shanghai is pretty clean and nearly no trash and no homeless people on the streets.
Exactly.
There is also a major difference is that all the shops, and I don't even go out, I can order food delivery.
Ding dong.
Yeah, ding dong, he ma. But it's only for Chinese who can understand Chinese because yesterday
Yeah.
we had a coffee break with like 2 exchange students just coming from France, and they found it very inconvenient to live in Shanghai because they don't read Chinese.
Yes, but I will go downstairs.
Okay, okay, then let's go in the same direction. Yeah?
Yes.
I will go. Bye bye. See you again. 再见.